I know faking it gets exhausting. Here, we keep it real. Hello, my loves. What's good? And welcome back to the Curls and Courage podcast. Hope y'all are feeling blessed, working hard, helping other people. You know the vibes. I'm your host, Kinsley Meeks, athlete, model, fitness coach, and creative producer, here to inspire you to live boldly and unlock your highest physical and mental potential. Thank y'all so much for taking the time to watch or listen to today's show. You guys already know I love bringing boss females on my show, and I'm truly honored to have my friend Air with me today. This girl has such a big heart and is doing so many things with purpose and with passion. Honestly, when I was even researching you, I was just like, damn, I was like, she's doing so much, so many things, so inspiring. I know you have a background in neuroscience, nutrition, clinical psychology, but outside of that, you're a huge creative as well. I know you model, you're a singer, you're an author, you create content, you're an event host, all of these things. Your schedule's got to be crazy. I don't know how you do it, but I do feel like sometimes people get their identity tied into this one thing, and I love how versatile you are. I love how you're doing so many things. That's something that I'm learning to do as well. So thank you so much for making the time today with your busy schedule. You are a jewel.
Oh, goodness. Okay, that's it. We're done.
That's all I can say.
I am so excited to be here, Kinsley. I look at you, and I've just seen you grow so much over the past few years, and you've become an inspiration even to me to keep going, to keep thriving.
That's so sweet.
And I know that we're Brickle babes down here, and I just love being able to come alongside other women here in Miami, here anywhere, to be honest, and be able to encourage, be able to be like, hey, can I contribute to your cause? Can I go alongside you? It just means so much to be here.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you for that. And yeah, no, I love supporting other people as well. That's what the show is honestly all about too. So I want you to just talk to me a little bit about your background. I know you're not originally from Miami, but you actually moved here to prevent human trafficking, right? Yeah. So what's that about? Why did you end up staying? When did you move here?
So I've been in Miami for about 15 years, off and on. I did a couple of sabbaticals, not gonna lie, but I love to travel. So with that, I started actually in 15 years ago. I don't even want to say my age on here, so we're going to skip past that.
It's okay.
But I came down here originally right before the Super Bowl. And I was part of the Tony Robbins campaign and the Jennifer Lopez campaign to fight human trafficking for the Super Bowl. I am a survivor. A lot of people don't know that anymore. Wow. But I'm a survivor from the modeling industry when I was a child/teenager. I originally came to the States at like 8 years old. I did international modeling for about 15 years. Oh, so there's a whole book about that, Model Stop Traffic. And it became a bestseller when I was like 19 years old. And it
You wrote a book when you were
a baby.
18, 17. That's crazy.
I was a baby. And it launched this huge philanthropy toward like, okay, who am I outside of this? But also, how can I help the world? So it led me permanently moving to Miami. I opened up my stores with some of the book proceeds, got into the philanthropy world, chambers, which we can always get into, and it's just been nonstop. I fell in love with the city. I fell in love with the culture here. We've got magic. It's the magic city. So.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I want to touch on, too, just if you feel comfortable speaking about that, because that's something that I didn't know about you, and that's something that's got to be, I mean, I don't even know the words to describe that, so traumatic to go through, and something that you've got to have a very, very difficult time healing from that. And many people can relate to maybe not that specific incident, but going through these hard times where they feel like they just can't really move past that. Can you tell me a little bit about your story when you were at that age and that was happening to you, and how you were able to even heal and do the things that you're doing now, and I mean, write a book and open up about it? That's crazy.
Yes. So that's a loaded question.
I know that's a lot.
But I've got this. I've been doing this a lot.
Okay.
I have 15 years worth. So I do a lot of public speaking, and it first came from that platform of fighting human trafficking, working with rehabilitation for survivors. My personal experience did happen with the modeling industry, actually out of New York City. And I was trafficked for 7 months, groomed for 3 months before that. And there just kind of hints that, like, the fashion world, modeling, there's no protected union. The closest that we have is the Model Alliance up in New York. And that's a nonprofit. I love it. I sat on the board of that one for a moment. And with that, human trafficking, domestic violence, violence against women, children, even men. It happens to everybody.
Wow.
that is still a big problem in the world and something I'm super passionate about. Now I've kind of ventured into other philanthropic type of initiatives. I love, Miami Beach cleanup. I like working with the homeless and being able to like provide food and shelters. Like I work in a lot of different philanthropies now, but it did start through my own personal scarcity and healing journey. So you mentioned like this huge resume that I don't think about a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
But it all comes from the fact that when I was that age, when I was, in my late teens, women especially came around me and supported me at the worst time you could think of in your life, like leaving slavery, to be quite frank with you. And a lot of those women were in Fort Lauderdale as well as Miami. They gave me shelter. They gave me therapy. They gave me new resources, a new identity. I had to do like legal stuff, like all sorts of things to be able to have this new who am I identity to myself. And I was so privileged because it did lead to me getting very invested in like human behavior, clinical psychology, neuroscience, nutrition, fitness. If you know where my origins are, it makes sense how I ended up where I am right now in this chair.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know that piece of the puzzle because you've seen me at different chapters, which I'm a big proponent of, like, meet me in my chapter, then you get to learn my book. It's an honor to know my story. It's an honor to know your story, Kinsley. Yeah. But when you get to know somebody's origin story, you're like, oh, like now it makes sense. Like, why did that person, make it against the odds? Entrepreneurship, health, you name it.
Yeah, 100%. Gosh, I don't even know where to start with that because I did not know any of that about you. First off, I just want to give you a hug. I'm like, damn.
I'm always open for hugs. It might be hard with the mic.
Serious, I know,
air hugs.
I know, air hugs. Literally, yeah. Nah, but girl, the fact that you went through that and like I said, are able to even speak up and talk about it, and it's just so clear how you are in serving other people. So thank you for sharing that first off and being open about that on this podcast. Girls, that is so inspiring. Look at what you're doing now and what you've been able to overcome. That's not something a lot of people will be able to do. So kind of leaning into that more, like you said, it's clear that you're very passionate about getting inside other people's brains. Y'all, even before we're having this interview, she starts interviewing me. I'm like, hold on, don't start interviewing me with your psychology stuff. We're not on that. But I do want to talk about that a little bit too. It's super interesting. I think in order to truly help someone in the same way that those women helped you back then, you have to be able to know someone's brain to some extent. You have to be able to kind of understand why and how they're wired. So talk to me about neuroscience. I know it's the study of the brain, right? Study of the brain and the nervous system, but how can you break that down?
Okay. So first and foremost, any type of healing is not your responsibility. It's always a bonus, but it's not your responsibility as far as your purpose goes to heal in life. Your responsibility is to have a relationship with God, and then also to thrive in life. Yeah. If you're always feeling like you're healing and you're in that trap of whether it's spirituality, whether it's fitness to get, in the best shape of your life, you're not doing it right. Your job is to be joyful. Your job is to go and experience and have adventures and to live. So I try to start with that anytime we get into neuroscience or healing or psychology, because you can get in the trap. And I've been there where it's just okay, I'm on every type of journey of yoga or plant medicine or medication, whatever, what have you. Yeah. And I'm okay, but that's not your role. Your role is to go have this beautiful life. With that, neuroscience itself is the study of the brain chemistry and how that influences, whether it's your behaviors, your belief systems. I work a lot with subconscious belief networks. Okay. And then also, how does it interact with your physical body? So that's where we get into anatomy, nutrition, fitness, and those interactions. Because what we think eventually becomes what we say, and what we say eventually becomes what we do. And then what we do influences our relationships and influences our relationships with the world, people, and ultimately ourselves.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Talk to me a little bit about that connection, too, when it's just the mind, body. That's something I'm super passionate about, too. I'm all for promoting good mental health, but also good physical health. So what role does that really play? If your mind is unhealthy, how does that affect your physical body?
Ooh. So we're talking about consciousness now.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So consciousness is your awareness of bringing in thoughts, Okay. This is a big difference when I'm starting to work with a client. By the way, NeuroSelf is my business when it comes to neuroscience or psychology or working with the mind. With that, you have thoughts. They're given to you. They come from other people, or maybe they come from an experience where you're walking down the road and, you listen to a certain type of music or media, but they're not of you. Right? They come to you like a gift.
That's interesting. Yeah. You're not like, oh, let me think this thought. Like, it's going to come to you naturally. You're not trying to a lot of the time. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay,
like, you
perfect.
can have thoughts from God, right? You're like, I would have never thought about that in a million years.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from. Or a lot of our thoughts are actually the replay that happens from our past experiences. So have you ever had the moment...
That is so true. That is so true. I'm like thinking of scenarios that have happened to me even recently where that applies.
You're like,
yeah.
I didn't think that or have that thought.
Yeah.
There are replays or scripts from maybe our parents, maybe a relationship that we were in. It could be a former partner. It could be something that you were told in like second grade. And it's like your second grade teacher taught you something, and like now it's replaying in your brain, even in your 20s, 30s, 50s. And these, again, they're gifts, right? We don't actually have the internal until we start thinking, which is the second step, and we have ideas about something.
Okay.
Normally, you can have a thought, and you don't act on every thought you have. Thank goodness, because...
Thank God on that one. I would be in jail. I would be like
trouble.
going crazy. Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's not until we gather enough of these thoughts from the outside, and we start playing with them in our minds, our consciousness, and now we're thinking, and we're having what's called ideas. Now, our ideas, could be great, or they could be, not so great for our health. Our beliefs come from having enough of these ideas together and eventually lead to our habits. So with you, Kensley, I know you're super into fitness, right?
Yeah, of course.
You'll have thoughts of people sharing, nutrition levels. You're going to need a certain amount of iron as a woman. You're going to need to, go and do certain types of exercises to be able to achieve your health, your desired result. Well, these all came from someone else. But Kensley came in, and she started thinking about it. And she's like, okay, how does this apply to me? Like, my body's different from other people's bodies.
Yeah, that's very true.
I, have different resources. Maybe you have a gym. Other people don't have gyms, right? Maybe you have different passions, right? You, I know, love weightlifting. I see you boxing. I see you taking on the world is what I see you doing.
Thank you.
But that's not me.
Yeah, right.
My body's a little bit different. And we, we have very similar demographics. But our belief systems and our resources are different. Yeah. I'm a Pilates princess. I'm a yoga goddess. I'm very different vibe. But it works for me. Those are our thinking patterns being different. And then lastly, we end up to our physical reality. Yeah. Right? You're hitting the gym. You are doing curls and courage. Literally.
Right, yeah.
By the way, total segue. But I realized, curls and courage, I was like, curls is my hair is as straight as a board. I got 1A dimension hair.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I could do curls though.
I love that. No, I had someone even the other day ask me, they're like, hey, do you think I should curl my hair? Is it a requirement to have curly hair to come on the show? I was like, no, but it would. I do like having the curly hair, I guess. But nah, it's curls as in bicep curls, whatever, and courage. That's funny though. Yeah.
I loved it. I realized it on the walk over here. And the only reason I didn't want to curl my hair had to do with the fact I was like, okay, authentically, how do I want to show up to her podcast? And I will curl my hair all day for you, to dress up.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was like, but the message that I really want to show on this podcast is if you're authentically showing up for yourself, whether it's your brain, your body, your goals, you're going to get there faster.
100%.
So
that's very, very true.
I'm not curling my hair today.
Nah.
But getting off that little soapbox, back to the physical reality, is your thinking eventually leads to your behaviors and your habits. And that is the fostering of your life, your foundation.
Yeah, of course.
And so that's why there's that little bit of a lag between, having a thought and seeing it in reality.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned before, I'm really glad that not every single thing I thought about is in my reality. Kind of like a pink elephant.
Yeah,
right?
because everyone's going to have those crazy, weird thoughts. We're human, So that's really interesting. Yeah, so more into the thoughts too. How do you know, I guess I'm trying to explain this. When thoughts are like coming to you, whether or not those are thoughts that you should really act on, like something that's maybe going to make you have a more purposeful life or make you get out of a bad relationship or, you know, define your life in a positive way versus this is a thought that I probably shouldn't act out on.
Yes. So I like to work backwards.
Okay.
Right? And so a lot of people have a goal and they're like, what's my first step?
Yeah.
Right, to achieve it, right? Maybe they're trying to get in like the best shape of their life again. I'm using fitness a lot because I know that you're like a fitness queen. So with that is actually incorrect. What you need to do is work backwards. Okay, so what is your highest goal when it comes to fitness? Maybe you want to win a fitness competition.
Okay.
Maybe you are trying to lose weight, right? Like maybe you were pregnant and you're trying to lose a baby pounds, right?
Okay,
Get back to like what feels normal and healthy for you. Or maybe you're trying to gain weight. There's been times in my life where I was like, I need to gain weight.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah.
So
I feel that.
Whatever the goal is, right? Starting there helps you realize that when you are having some thoughts come to you, what is going to be beneficial for you and what's not going to be beneficial. Okay?
Yeah.
So having the end result in mind helps you move there quicker versus just trying to make the first step. A lot of people will be like, okay, well, I need to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Right? Like they have a desire and the desire is health or, you know, fitness. And they're like, okay, I'll just show up at the gym. And then they get there and they're like, I have no idea what to do.
Right.
They're like so lost, right? Myself included.
I get that.
It took me forever to even realize like what the barbells were like. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I needed you earlier, Ken.
I know.
So with that, now we have our thoughts coming, right? And you have thoughts all over telling you how to be healthy or like be fit.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, how do I discern? Because what the question is about.
Yeah,
is
how do you
discernment.
find that discernment? Exactly.
So when you have the end goal in mind, like, okay, what does fitness look like to you? Like for me, again, it's the Pilates princess or it's the yoga goddess. I know I feel best on that route. But if you came in to the yoga studio, you might not feel as comfortable.
Nah, I'd be like, I'm leaving. Yeah,
you're like,
for sure.
you're gone, right? So like figuring out what that ideal is for you.
Okay.
Right? Now we have what's called focus. I tell people, especially my clients or, you know, my dear friends, I'm like, okay, focus is the easiest way to change your life. Let's say you have like a result in mind. And focus is composed of two different things. Your environment and the people around you.
Gosh, that's so true.
So
yeah.
If you have a goal in mind, right, and you're like, I want to make sure I have the best thoughts possible, because thoughts are not from us, they're to us.
Yeah.
If I want to have the best goal and results towards, you know, whatever it is, that end manifestation, that end result, now I need to switch my focus, because my focus is going to help me with my discernment.
Yeah.
So for me, it'd be like, okay, what's my environment? My environment in this case is a yoga studio, right? Or, you know, people that are a little bit more all natural with medicines or homeopathic, like that's higher towards my goal, right?
Right.
Versus on your side, again, similar goal, different execution. You might be like, I need to go make more friends that are into weightlifting or other like fitness instructors.
Yeah.
People that are the same goal mindset. Notice how it's not that there's bad thoughts for you to go to a yoga studio.
Right.
Like that's not a negative thing, right? It's not like, you know, eating a tube of ice cream on the
Yeah,
couch
that's
every
so, it's still, I see what you mean. It's still a very positive thing. It's just not what I want to do for my goals.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
So you start switching your focus, okay? Your environment and the people around you are going to help you get faster when it comes to whatever the end result is. And there's this whole wheel that we can get into as far as like changing your life or changing your mindset to be able to get to that goal faster.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I love what you said on focus too, because I think a lot of people, struggle with, and myself included, your environment and the people around you, especially like out here in Miami and every other places in the world too. Like it's very hard to know who to trust and if I'm in the right place and whether or not I should go here, that type of thing. So what are some ways would you say to better your environment and better the people around you, you know, to be able to not get distracted by things that you don't need in your life, and to be able to, maybe you're someone who doesn't have the best circle, or you're to yourself a lot, or you just feel like something's not clicking in those two areas. How can you go about changing that? You know?
So we have like two different questions happening here. So the first question is almost like how do I like discern my environment and the people?
Yeah.
And the other one, it was, you like, snuck it in towards the end.
Yeah.
You're like, but what about if you're a lone wolf?
yeah, exactly. Like, what if I'm someone like, hey, like I'm kind of a loner out here, but like I'm also trying to be around people who, I mean, I'd like to be around people who help me level up, because I know that's my mentality at times, not always, but sometimes. And I know a lot of people too, you go up and you ask them and they're like, oh, like I'm just doing my own thing, which great. It's good to do your own thing. But I also am a strong believer, if you have the right people and you're in the right place, you know, again, you want to go out there, be a musician. Well, if you at your house all day long and you ain't around no musicians, you're not around the producers, you're not around the artists, you're not getting it done, how are you going to be successful?
Exactly.
Right? So, yeah, that's the question.
So let's do like the first one and then we'll tackle the second one. Because both are very important. And I've actually been in both scenarios. I would say more in my 20s was like the first case. And like now I've gotten to my 30s, it's more like the other one.
Okay.
So with that, the trying to decipher, like, is this person right for you, kind of goes back to, like, understanding who you are as a person. Like, fundamentally, where do you want to go? And it's perfectly okay to change your mindset on, like, what you want to explore. I call them side quests. You could always have a side quest, like, and that's great. But at your core morals, what do you stand for? So, for instance, with you, you stand for health, right? And you stand for entrepreneurship, and you stand for, like, being independent despite the odds. Yeah. And I see that with you because, like, you're living on your own here in Miami. Like, you told me, like, you have a great family, but you also, like, you're doing it on your own.
Yeah,
right? Like,
right.
With that, again, the best type of scenario is, like, find people like that, right? It's like, okay, I realized in my 20s, I was, like, in a relationship, and I enjoyed the relationship. I loved the relationship, and in some ways, it was great for me. Right. But it went against some of my core morals. Like, I don't drink alcohol, and I don't do drugs. And if that makes me boring, I am so boring. Like, I love sleep. Really, these are the things I, morally realize that are really part of my identity. I can always have a good time. I love dancing. Like, I'm the first, you saw me on stage. Like, I don't need alcohol to dance. So with that person was good for me in a lot of ways, as far as, like, career, finance, business, like, elevated me that way. But some of my core morals weren't aligned, and that's where I started tripping. Right? And so, like, you can have a side quest. Maybe you go out once, right? And you're like, let's just figure out, what it's like to,
let's turn up a little bit. I've been there.
Like, you call them benders or whatnot. Like, why not? Like, figure out what that is. And, like, maybe that's the Gemini in me, is, like, we like to have side quests.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And it is important, like, to explore. I mean, I agree, and see, like, am I into this or am I not? But anyways, continue.
No, it's great because it's like, am I into this? Okay, now I can rewrite my identity as, like, that being part of my structure. Okay. Right? Even if it's temporary, right? People have, like, summer flings, summer loves, those type of things. Well, like, you have to go back to, like, who you are as a person, your roots, right? And if you're changing your identity and evolving, let's say you're growing or you're healing, then that's a different conversation. But you need to have this kind of baseline, right? Because when you decipher who's going to be in your life and the amount that they're in your life, because you can have someone in your life that's like an acquaintance or a friend, or maybe it's a boyfriend for, like, short term, but, like, when you get really serious about, like, okay, building your circle to be around people that are, like, the best for you, those morals have to match. Which leans me in to, like, the second question. I'm going to segue myself.
That was a good answer.
I'm going to segue myself into, like, the lone wolf concept. So I tell a lot of people, especially, like, women, that if you want a woman to stop her goals, have her fall in love. If you want a woman to, like, take over the world, like, have her heart broken. And you'll see what happens.
I love that,
And so with that lone wolf for me kind of happened when I had, like, this really bad heartbreak. Like, super betrayal. Like, if you could name the list, all of those things, he checked the boxes.
Gosh, I hate that for you.
I actually love it for me. Never mind. There's a blast on the podcast.
There's always like a lesson. Like, I feel like when you go through a hard time, you definitely, it sucks in the moment, but a lot of times it does, like you said, like, ooh, like, I'm gonna go get it. Like, I'm that girl now, whatever. So.
It was devastating. It was soul crushing, like, on every single level, and it was very public. Was another thing, which is like, oh my goodness, like, I'm not a celebrity yet, right? I'm going to manifest that one way or another. But, like, I felt like it was so public. And I was like, oh, my goodness, if this is how celebrities feel all the time about being on magazines or, you know, everyone knows their business, I was like, that's a lot. And like,
yeah, there's a lot of pressure and, like, eyes on you. And people want to say this and that.
Mm-hmm. And everybody has a story. And you're like, but you weren't there.
Yeah, you don't know. Exactly.
It's like, you don't know, right? But it was actually a beautiful moment for me because it did have me kind of go into this lockdown mode of like, okay, if I shut down everything and like full hermit, lone wolf style, now I can rebuild and like really figure out, okay, where did I go wrong, right? What in me? I always do this to my clients and they don't always love it, but like, what in you caused that betrayal? What in you caused that inconsistency? What in you caused that cheating or that lying or just the misalignment?
Yeah.
Because full accountability, it had to start in you. Consciousness starts in you. So everything that got created in your life had to have something to do with you. And that's whenever it became like a game, right? Like healing is a very painful process at times. But once you start to see, like, the scab go over and the scar starts fading and you're like, oh, my goodness, that's a beautiful process.
Yeah.
And you realize that you're stronger. Kind of like when you start going to the gym and you tear down the muscles and then they come back bigger and more, toned
like,
and defined.
Exactly.
You're like, oh, I like this. You almost, like, want to go see, like, can I do it again? No, I don't want to do that again.
For sure, yeah.
But the discernment now comes, right? When you find out like those deeper shadow parts of you. We're gonna get spiritual for a second. Mm-hmm. That shadow part of you, and you realize that's in me as well, and that actually can be used as fuel to like reach that next level. Now I realize it's like the best people to have on your side, and like I'm gonna look at the camera to let you guys know the best people to have on your side are the individuals that went through that fire, that went through that pain. Or that went, you know, and moved across countries or states in this case, because you're from Alabama. Like, you know, like the best people beat the odds. And for me, when I'm like, okay, I need to get to that next level. I'm ready. I'm like, okay, those are going to be my people. I realize that because those are the strongest people for me personally. Yeah. And my energy matches that. That frequency matches. And you get enough of those people around the table, now it's just like playing the game. Yeah. Right? And then I kind of want to add, I'm trying to figure out how to fluff this in here, of it's okay to be alone for a little while, but your visibility, increasing your surface area, is always going to increase your success area. Yeah. So I could work, you know, I can work anywhere in the world at this point, right? I just need a laptop, a Wi-Fi connection, I can work. Yeah, you can figure it out, So that doesn't help me with, like, the stage stuff or, like, the modeling or, you know, hosting or even the keynotes. But technically, I could do my job on a computer. Mm-hmm. And I will only achieve a certain level of success. Now, my visibility and feeling safe being seen makes a big difference. So you know this, I'm going to share this with the guests, is like, I have billboards now throughout Miami, and that was very scary for me to do. I'm sure, like, yeah. I've always been a model for, like, other people's campaigns, like, whether it was, you know, L'Oreal, fashion, didn't matter. And it was always, like, somebody else's, like, business, though. Yeah. But for me, I felt super nervous about, like, I'm going to put, you know, NeuroSelf and my face and my Instagrams and, you know, my company, you know, throughout Miami. And that was terrifying because people knew me in different capacities, right? I'm sure, yeah. And I had to get through this, like, personal, like, being able to be seen and comfortable being seen on a bigger level. Mm-hmm. And what that ended up doing is it built up this momentum. I got more people calling me to be on stage for different projects or for the chamber, those type of things. So you cannot do it alone. Right? You have to be okay with being seen, but also learn that discernment. So your question, like 1 and 2, is very appropriate. Yeah. You got to have the discernment before you can get out there. Not reverse. If you get out there and you don't have the discernment, you're going to end up in a rabbit hole. Yeah. So side quest.
No, that's definitely true. And I think it's just important to, like you said, you have to be able to have that find that inner work within yourself. Like, you have to take time and figure out, like you said, like, what do I need to be doing to make myself more successful? What do I need to be doing to get myself out of this situation? How can someone be more self-aware? Like, hey, this is not working for me. Hey, I need to do this to get to X goal. How can I be more self-aware?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, I will ask you, like, how often do you just sit with yourself?
I mean, for me personally, I'm alone a lot. Like, I'm not even asking this question for myself. I just feel like a lot of people don't even realize, like, when they're messing up, or don't even realize, like, when they could be better. They're not even aware of, like, their selves or what's going on around them. So, I mean, I'm with myself all the time, you know. However, most of the time I will say that I'm alone, I'm working on something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm working on the podcast, I'm maybe, you know, working on some music stuff, I'm working on some content modeling stuff, or I'm helping someone else in some type of way. I'm on the phone, I'm doing online plans. I'm not really just like sitting with is that what you mean? Like, I'm not just sitting there like, oh, like I'm with my thoughts. Like, probably never, like, unless I'm like in my bed, like praying to God. Like, I'm not really just sitting outside like, oh, I'm by myself right now. Like, I'm not doing that, you know?
So you're so quick, because it is a little bit of a trick question, and you
Yeah.
caught on in the end.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, maybe that's not what she means.
Yeah. I'm not like sitting there. Yeah.
As humans, we're very rarely by ourselves. And we have to kind of ask ourselves, what does it mean to be by yourself? You were getting there. And I feel like if I would have let you keep going, you would have, like, went all the way. Mm-hmm. And this is where we need to, like, talk about intelligence again a little bit with neuroscience and some psychology. But the highest form of intelligence is called metacognition.
Okay.
And metacognition is not, you know, how many formulas you can name, or, you know, geographic or anything like that. Metacognition is the intelligence that says, can I be aware of my own thinking? It is the ultimate form of self-awareness. Now, we do have, like, businesses, and we have friends, and we have things to do, and, like, maybe that requires us being on a computer, like you said, working alone or supporting other people. But when you sit down and you are becoming more aware through, like, maybe meditation, maybe it's just, you know, stopping the world for a while. Like, this is what Shavasana is all about in yoga. That
Shavasana.
And yes,
okay.
That last, it's called corpse pose, if you're not familiar with Sanskrit.
Okay.
But the reason that you move your body so much in yoga for like an hour or maybe even 90 minutes, it could be longer, is because we're trying to tire the body for meditation. Yoga is not for asana. It's not for the poses and to get stronger and, like, you know, all that lovely inverted stuff. And I love all of that.
Yeah.
But it's actually to get your body tired enough to where you could sit down and meditate and all the thoughts stop. Because the thoughts, remember, they're not from us. They're to us. So if we filter all of those, kind of like passing cars, out and the street is completely empty, now we're by ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're in the true essence of being by ourselves. It's us being aware that we're thinking. Now, that's a beautiful place to be, because that's a place of creation and understanding. Mm-hmm. When you sit down and you let all the thoughts pass and your body's tired, right? But you're not sleepy. You can't be sleepy yet.
Yeah.
Right? You're able to be very, what people call clear-minded. And that's where you get to know, like, who am I versus who am I being told I am? Who was I, or who am I becoming?
That is okay. I see exactly what you mean. And that's hard to do. Yeah, sometimes I feel like it's difficult to just sit there and stop and really think about, okay, everything you said, who really am I? What's important to me? But you got to know that in order to get to anywhere you want to go, of course, you know. What are some ways that people can just be able to get in that state of mind? Because I think a lot of times, especially if you have a busy life, maybe you have a family or you got a lot going on entrepreneurial, maybe someone is myself, how can you even, like, take the time or make the time to just sit there and be with yourself, but be in that clear headspace as well?
Yes.
You know?
So it really depends a lot on what your lifestyle is, and then also there's some genetics in here. And so I have a great friend, and he was, like, a former NBA, you know, player, like, super, like, strong fitness. kind of scary. You'd like him, actually.
That's perfect for me. Yeah,
I have a second person in mind now.
Good,
so
okay.
he's fantastic, but the way he approaches this is very different than me. So I'm going to tell how he approaches it, and how he's actually one of my clients too, of like what works for him genetically as well. Because he's also a man, right? So spoiler alert, he's a man. And the male brain is different from the female brain.
Yeah, that's
so he works very well with routines, discipline, conquer, this masculine energy. It's a very healthy masculine energy.
Yeah.
And for him, he needs things like cold plunge. He needs to go, shoot a basketball for an hour before he's like clear-headed.
That would be me.
Right?
I need to go punch the bag before I go in and like.
Yeah, he needs to exert it
get
all.
that out. Yeah.
So when he is forced to stop sometimes, and that's okay. You can force yourself to stop. It's harder on the body, but it will get you there. Another way is like hypnotism, right? Sometimes you need a guide to be able to help hijack the brain. There's a lot of different ways that you can hijack. And hijack is not a bad thing if it's with a good person. Like hypnotism, NLP, which is neurologistic programming. How I speak to people is very different than somebody that's untrained with NLP. So if you've ever had a conversation with me and you're like, Air speaks a little bit, not oddly, but like her word choice is very different. How she pronounces things are different. Like how her infrastructure is with her speaking. When I'm working with a client, it's different than like just hanging out. But like when I see my friends being a little bit negative on themselves, I might turn it up a little bit. But like I think that's, a good thing is to have somebody like me in your life that's like that. But those are more like masculine, harsh type of ways to stop the brain from the busyness or the fuzziness.
Yeah.
Because it's like a radio signal. You bringing in all these thoughts. When you live in cities, it's even harder because when you live in cities, it's a lot more thoughts. It's a lot more energy. There's something called Schuman's resonance. And there's my accent coming out.
I know. I was like, whoa, I'm not going to try to repronounce that one.
So, it's actually a Russian measurement system of the pulse of the Earth. So the Earth has a heartbeat. Some people don't realize this.
I don't know anything about that.
It's called a sonogram. I could show you later on, or maybe you put it a picture of it.
Yeah.
We have a constant measuring of the heartbeat of the world, of the planet, and they do it out of Russia, like I mentioned. Well, there's high frequencies and lower frequencies. For instance, we had an earthquake a few days ago in Miami, right? That was actually from Cuba, but we felt some of the waves here. And that energy is just like the movement of the world, right? The heartbeat of the world.
Yeah.
Well, when people have earthquakes, everybody gets a little bit more tense. That frequency goes up, that pulse goes up. And I'm getting a little bit nerdy right now.
You sound a little nerdy, but I'm interested. Go on with it. Yeah.
Here we are. We've already arrived. So with that, you're collecting a lot of data. It's coming into your brain, and your brain is processing that as quickly as possible. So cities, it could be more difficult. That's why we call New York the concrete jungle. It's just hustle, hustle, hustle.
Yeah.
Miami's very similar. Plus, we have the oceans. We have a lot of emotional energies happening all the time with the ocean. So with that, sometimes a hard stop is great, right? And we need it. I need hard stops sometimes. Another way to do that is a more feminine way to do it, okay? I know that you love your self-care because you got your curls. You got to take care of those curls.
I'll take care of myself. Yeah, for sure.
There's a reason women love spas.
Yeah.
Right? There's a reason we have bathtub routines and we do new moon rituals and we get into dancing. Dancing's a very good way to clear out that energy, those thoughts, to kind of deplete yourself enough to where you're okay, now I'm done thinking. I'm just being. How do we get to being? That is the goal.
I love that. Done thinking, but just being, which is a very hard state to get to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For the untrained, yes.
For the untrained, as myself would say, and a lot of people are not trained to do that, for sure. So thank you for that. No, that's really interesting. I love that. So you got a lot going on. Obviously, this was a little bit more educational. You're being a little bit nerdy on me, which I absolutely love. But I know there's also a creative side to you as well, and that's what I want to tap into. I also love creative people. I love that you're able to do both. I think having that mixture is really cool. So talk to me a little bit about just your writing at first. I know you have several books, and you've also dropped several songs. I love to write, too. I think it's a great way to express yourself. But talk to me about how you got into that, and what does that help you with?
So this is going to be probably the most poetic thing I say on the podcast, but it's a good, from the science to the arts of me, is I always tell people that you're not broken, you're just patterned. And when you really look at that statement, it's, okay, we're told all the time if we're not doing something right, then, you know, something must be wrong with you. And the truth is that we all are having these different expressions of our life, and that there's no right or wrong way to live. There's just different ways to live. And you are patterned. You have these habits that kind of gear you towards the way that you're living right now.
Yeah.
So if you want to change, fully possible. You're not broken. You're just patterned that way, right? So change your thoughts, change your life, right? So books. I've written 17 books.
17?
Yes.
That's insane.
3 of them became bestsellers, which tells you, like, just keep writing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't need every single one to be a winner, but I do need every single one to come out of me.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason for all of them. So, like, Model Stop Traffic was my first bestseller. I have a book called Miami Girl.
I have to read that.
You do?
I would love to. Yeah, for real.
I have a book called Miami Girl. It became a bestseller. It was a completely different genre. It was about, you know, being a girl in Miami, the neighborhoods, real estate, dating, you know, where to eat. Like,
that's
whole different,
too.
like, life. And then I've had books that are more on wellness. I've had fiction books. I've had books about relationships. And these were all expressions of my being. I am an artist just like you. And the best entrepreneurs tend to be artistic because we don't think the same as everybody else.
Yeah, like outside the box. Totally, yeah.
And so I love music too. I grew up with singing because of the modeling industry. I was also doing a lot of acting, just anything that put me on like a camera or a stage. That's how I paid the bills for my family, because I was kind of like the breadwinner for a while with my family. And I fell in love with singing, but for the longest time, I didn't feel like my voice was strong enough, because my childhood trauma was like, sit still, be pretty. People want to see you. People don't want to hear you. Oh. So that was a big thing for me.
Gosh, that had to be hard to break.
It was difficult. It took me like 20 years to break. But it happened. Everything, like, some things are processes, right? Everybody's on their own journey. Now I don't mind at all. You saw me singing on stage, you know, at the Hard Rock. So, like, I felt like, okay, I love writing. I knew 2 things about myself when I was younger, that I was going to be a doctor and that I was going to be a writer for the rest of my life. And I will continue to write books, but writing songs, writing poetry. I have a couple poetry books even. Like, there's just this different
I could see you being such a poet.
And I know it.
I know, yeah.
So, like, I'm so romantic at heart. Like, I romanticize everything. And I think that's just my personality, is like, okay, how can I make, like, a double meaning? How can I, like, tie things in? Maybe it's witty, like the Gemini self of me. Yeah. Or maybe my moon's a Pisces. So, like, that's super soulful, you know, intense, deep, you know. Yeah, like, energy is also in me. And I felt like when I was writing songs, it started actually at that dark chapter that I was telling you about. Yeah. Because, and I love how we're just kind of, like, doing this flow in, flow out of, like, conversations now, is that dark chapter, there was no logic for what happened. There was, like, I had done everything right on textbook. Right? Yeah. And it hit me out of nowhere. So when logic failed me, I was like, now I'm just here with my emotions. What do I do?
Right.
And I started writing in a different way. I started writing very lyrical. I started writing, like, things that didn't necessarily make sense to my mind, but to my heart. Yeah. And it opened up a new gateway for me when it came to expression, because I started, you know, singing these things to make my heart feel better, because the heart loves when you sing to it. And, you know, that sounds
so cute. No, that's true though. I mean, like, I love to write too. I agree, and I think I can relate. A lot of, usually when I'm writing, you know, things that I'm gonna share with the world one day, it's stuff that I've been through, right? It's stuff that I'm trying to overcome. It's stuff that I feel like could help somebody else. It's things that I'm passionate about, and sometimes I think writing is the best way to express that, because you can't hold it all in. If you don't want to tell nobody, might as well write it down, you know, and sing about it. So.
And I loved it. Like, a lot of my first album was heartbreak.
Yeah.
Like, heart-wrenching. Like, people were like, wow, Air, we didn't know you had these many emotions.
Yeah, but those soul songs are what are relatable and hit people the hardest.
Exactly.
For sure.
And I felt like when I released that, people got to see a different version of me. Because they're used to seeing, like, the prim and the proper and, you know, like, hair's, you know, in check, right? When I released that, it was so raw that I felt like I was able to not just lean into a deeper part of myself, but also lean into, like, now people can see me for everything I am as a whole person, not just the razzle-dazzle, but, like, the depth of who I am. And I had some friends even at that time, they're like, we can hear the pain in your voice. And I was just like, yes, because that was what it was. Some of those songs I can't sing the same way now.
Yeah.
Because that pain isn't there. Like, and I can listen to them if I want to, like, revisit that memory. I don't really want to. I don't feel like I need to right now in this chapter of my life. But there was such an evolution of, okay, that my first album was this, like, soul-wrenching, intense, you know, heartbreak album. And my second one was, like, all razzle, like, jazzy and fun.
It just goes to show you, I totally feel you. Yeah, that's so funny and relatable to me as well.
Just, like, dancing around, you know. I had a song called Peach, and it was about, you know, I'm a supermarket girl.
Yeah.
Like, I still go to Publix, right? Like, you see me, you know, out in the street, and, you know, I just look normal, right? My sports bras, my, you know, Pilates outfits. And then I turn around on, like, Saturday night, there's, like, 5,000 people in the crowd, and, you know, I'm all dolled up.
Right,
and I'm like, it's a different vibe. But, like, that song was so fun. Like, I'm smiling right now. It was so fun to sing that. Because it's like, I'm a supermarket girl. Like, I'll chill with you, know, on a podcast on Thursday and, like, turn around, you know, sing to the crowds. Like, and that's the beauty of, like, being an artist is, like, you have some parts that are, like, just, like, normal and to yourself. And, you know, you have the deep and you have the dark. And then you turn around and, like, you're going to razzle-dazzle. Like,
I love that. I love that creative side. How do you tap into that creative version of yourself too? If maybe like you've had a hard day, or you know you're going from being a neuroscientist, basically dealing with patients and handling even like people's problems. That's hard. Like that's heavy to carry, especially if you're someone who truly cares about other people, which you do. How do you later go in at the end of the night and like tap into that creativity and hey, I'm going to focus on modeling or singing or writing or dancing? How do you tap into that?
Oh, this is such a good question, Kinsley. It's a really good question.
Yeah. Because that's hard for people sometimes. They feel like they lose that childlike sense of self. Or I know now I'm just so creative it won't stop. But I know for a long time, even when I was like heavily like bodybuilding, and I still am, but I was super locked in on that, and I was just to myself, whatever, going through a hard time. I didn't feel creative at all. Like I just didn't feel that. It was very hard for me to tap into it. I'm like, no, this is me and this is what I'm doing. But now I'm like, no, I'm so multifaceted. Like I want to use this other part of my brain, and I found that it works better for me. But that wasn't always possible,
So I would say when it came to creation, I had to learn that you can create out of chaos and you can create out of joy. When you create a chaos, you're going to get something very authentic and very relatable to other people. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be as big as far as like vast exposure or like growing. I learned this actually originally from my stores. So I had 8 retail stores in my 20s called Flying with Air. And these were apothecaries and metaphysical stores throughout South Florida and Tennessee. So like that was my first, big company was Flying with Air. And, God rest her soul. I loved her, but like just different chapters of life. Right? And I created out of a lot of chaos and pain for Flying with Air because it started with the human trafficking awareness. I used the money from, the campaigns, the tours, the book tours to open up my first store. And it was built out of trying to help other survivors and women, like, improve their physical body. I had scars. I couldn't grow my hair. Like, it was a traumatic experience.
Yeah, of course.
So I dove into Flying with Air, creating out of chaos. Now, it ended up being a wide, beautiful success, right?
Yeah.
8 stores on
That's
your own,
insane.
From
Congrats.
$0 to, I didn't have a trust fund.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's incredible.
But I realized that the chaos was only going to get me so far as my personal healing journey kept going, right? I started in the physical, And then I worked my way up into the mental. And then I worked my way up into spiritual. And now I'm kind of at this relational type of like essence of like healing or leveling up, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that makes sense.
With that, it was super successful. And that's a great amount of success for anybody. But I realized it's like I could take this a step further if I learned how to tap into the creation of joy. Right? And that's where I had to really flip a strip, and like that metacognition comes up, and the sitting with yourself and the being versus doing came up, the feminine type of qualities. And I'll say this just for everybody. When I say masculine, feminine, I don't mean male, female. I mean like the parts of you that are more masculine are going to be your conqueror, your go-getter, your building, like a lot of that like higher energy.
Yeah.
Versus your more resting, your parasympathetic, your, receiving energy. That's more the feminine. So I don't mean male versus female, like at all. I mean like these are just ways to classify energy and like behaviors. So when I was like, okay, if I create something out of joy, what will happen, right? And what I noticed is like, okay, instead of having one company that's super successful, now I have multiple companies. I have NeuroSelf, I have the Brickell Community Chamber, I have the like one-off contracts with like modeling or singing or acting.
Right.
Like, I have basically 3 careers in one.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really happy this way. But that came out of like switching into creating out of joy versus pain. Now you mentioned, like, well, Air, like I'm tired or I'm grumpy or, like things are not going well, finances, health, business,
that's a lot
whatever,
of people. Yeah,
right?
like that's a lot of people. They feel like, oh, I can't do that. Like I got too much going on, or there's all these struggles. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So I have one person in mind. I work with him, and he's an immigrant, first generation. He's still working on getting his like proper citizenship, and like he's in the process, and it's hard for him because he's also in school. Like he's doing so much, and I'm so proud of him. But he's also an artist, and a really good one. Mm-hmm. Like I think I'm an artist when it comes to drawing, but like he blows me away with like some of the things he can create.
Really?
And he shared with me recently, maybe like a couple of months ago, he's like, Air, I just can't draw. I just can't paint.
Yeah.
I don't even have, he was like, I don't even have the money to do it. And he goes, it's like, I'm just so focused on, trying to survive. And he broke my heart in a lot of ways because of what he was tolerating in his life to be able to survive was the reason that he couldn't go create. So this is where boundary work becomes so important. So I'll keep his life as private as possible.
Yeah.
But I will say that like he was making close to like $200 a week.
$200 a week? Trying to live
in Miami. Sharing a home with multiple people. Like
you can't. I mean, you can't.
You can't.
You can't.
And one of the biggest things I told him, I was just like, you are not being honest to yourself and your needs. So how are you going to go create something for the world?
Yeah.
I know you're talented. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, the first thing you need to do is going to be probably the scariest thing. And it's your boundary work. It's like, do you think that you're worth $200 a week? Or do you think you're worth more? Now, I could tell you all day long that you're worth more, right? Like, as far as receiving goes. But you're telling me, through your actions, through your words, that this is what you're worth. And you're using an excuse. You're like, well, I got to survive. If I let go of that, Air, like, I'm not going to have anything.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of, like, one of my favorite memes of, like, Jesus and a little girl. I don't know if you've seen it.
What was it?
The little girl's, like, holding a teddy bear. And it's, like, a small little teddy bear. It's cute, right? It's a small little teddy bear. And then Jesus has, like, this huge, like, carnival-style teddy bear behind his back. But the little girl can't see it.
I've seen that.
Right?
I've seen that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the little girl is, like, clenching onto this teddy bear because, like, that's her security. That's what she knows, right? That's, in this case, my client's $200 a week. That's his teddy bear. Some people, it's their relationship. They've been with a certain person for so long, or if they tolerated something so long at work, or, what they are used to. Remember, we're not broken, we're patterned.
Yeah.
So it's what you're familiar with that you probably are too attached to.
100%.
And I was just like, can you let go of the idea of that $200 a week if it meant that you even got $500, right? Maybe we're not even shooting for, like, what's like a really good income to have for Miami. Maybe it's just like these small steps, right? when you believe something, it can be hard at first to overcome like what's really possible for you. And you can be told that all day long. Like, Kensley, I could tell you that you're worth $13,000 a month or $50,000, and you're going to be like, yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. Like, if I don't believe it, then
like,
it's not going to work. Yeah, 100%.
But just like you, when you cringed and your body got tight, I saw you like vasoconstrict when I was like 200 a week. You're like, no way, Aaron, like, you can't do that, right?
Yeah.
To me, I vasoconstrict when I'm like, I hear somebody here's like $13,000 a month. I constrict. I'm like, how are you doing that?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But that's our different patterns, right? So with him particularly, I was like, okay, what will it take for you to be able to break that pattern, right? Like that familiar like notion of it. Like, for him, it's, I need you to create. If you go and create something, and I didn't have to do this, but I'm like, if you go and create something, I will pay you $200 for it.
Yeah.
Right? Just to show you that you're worth more than $200 a week. Because it's going to take you 3 hours maybe to do that, or, you know, maybe it takes you an hour. I don't care how long it takes you. Time is a myth.
Like, it's a myth. I love that,
It's a lie. Time is a lie. But the point was, like, I needed to shatter his belief system.
Yeah.
Which sometimes it's really important for you to find people. Kind of like you need a fitness trainer. Sometimes you need a brain trainer.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I am. I'm a brain trainer. And so, like, with that, his creation, when he told me, I was just like, I don't care what you create. I don't care if it's terrible. I don't care if it's the worst thing you've ever done. I just need you to create something. And, you know, it's painful or it's joyful. It's, you know, you crying when you're doing it or you're laughing while you're doing it. But what we really are doing is rewiring your beliefs, your subconscious here. And I was, you know, very excited because I've seen stories like this all the time, where he was making 200, and then like I saw him last Sunday, and he goes, "Hey, I'm making 500."
Oh,
that's
He's
awesome. Like, I quit that job and I found one for 500. I was like, that's great, you know, like, let's keep going, right? And I was just like, what's your goal? And he's just like, I will make like $3,000 a month. And I was like, okay. Well, then you're going to have to, like, figure out, you know, the next step of, like, how do you let go of the 500 to receive the 1,000, to receive the 2,000? And you can do this with money. You can do this with relationships. Like, people that have negative, like, family relationships, like with their father or their mother, a lot of people don't realize is, like, again, it starts with you. And when you start seeing that relationship differently, you can start to reprogram that relationship.
Yeah.
And I had a client do that probably like 2 years ago. He had one of those like really strict, stern, Southern Bible pastor fathers.
I get that. Yeah,
like that
exactly
deep,
what you mean.
South, Southern. I love Southern people so much.
But no, I get that. It's definitely something that I've been
Bible
around.
Belt.
Like, Bible Belt, that's where I come from, is the Bible Belt. Like, you know, it's very different from here, so I can definitely see what you mean on that one.
And his energy was entrepreneur, Miami, like, go explore,
So
you know,
different,
like, super different. He's like, Air, I could not get along with my father. And I was just like, well, of course you can't. You just said you can't. It's like, I believe you. Like, I take people face value. And so we did something called revision technique for him particularly, where we're like, okay, write down the story. We're tapping into that artist of a relationship with your father that you can believe in. And he goes, well, if my father would just stop telling me to go to church every Sunday, I could believe that, you know, our relationship would be better. I was like, okay, fine then. Write that down. And what ended up happening, long story short, is he did get more involved in church. But also, his father wasn't that patriarchal, Southern, you know, Bible in your face.
You have to go, be there every Sunday, be there every Wednesday type,
What ended up happening is they kind of met in the middle, because that was the relatable story that they could both believe in.
Okay.
And a lot of restoration when it comes to marriages or family dynamics or even friendships kind of are not like my story versus your story, but what story can we both believe in that actually becomes our reality?
Yeah.
So like it's a game. It's a neuroscience, psychology. It's an art. It's a scientific art, but it's an art.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, literally everything starts with your mindset. Literally everything. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. You're clearly someone who's not afraid to, you know, be bold, put yourself out there, take risk, live a life of courage. What does that word mean to you?
Courage. So I had a mantra throughout my 20s that said, listen and be brave. I am a very courageous person. I never wanted to be a courageous person. I just am a courageous person. And I've had experiences that kind of expose that between, the violence in my younger years, the entrepreneurship, the rebuilding after I had everything and lost everything, rebuilding it again. You prove courage to yourself.
Yeah.
Not as something that you're like, okay, well now I got to go be courageous today. You're like, no, I need to go be authentic today and show up for myself. And courage is going to be a result of that.
Yeah. That's a good answer. I've never had anyone explain it like that. Yeah, just like it kind of means to be authentic. Yeah, which is so rare. I love that. So thank you for sharing that. Last thing I want to go through, I always like to have a little Q&A segment with my guests. More fun, playful. I have 10 questions that I prepared for you. I want you to answer them just off the top of your head, whatever comes to your mind first, okay?
Let's go.
All right. Name a habit about yourself that you're trying to break.
Ooh. The habit of playing small. Like,
ooh, yeah.
Even at the level that I'm at, I feel like I play bigger stages than most, but I still feel like I'm small.
You're playing small. I don't think I disagree. I don't think that's a habit that you need to break, but okay.
I think that there's levels, and I know that I can play at a bigger level.
Yeah.
Even if my level's already bigger than most, like, I know I can go further.
I love that. Yeah, I'm similar in that way. Always trying to do the most, level up. Yeah. Okay, what about a trait that makes someone instantly attractive?
Oh, being brave.
Ooh.
I've told this, like, to every single man I've ever met. I was just like, for me personally, if he's brave, like, amazing.
Yeah.
Like, more than looks, more than intelligence. Show me how brave you are.
Yeah, show me that brave side of you. I love that. Show me that courage. Yeah, I love it. What about one beauty tip that all females need to know?
Check your iron levels.
Ooh, that's true.
Yeah, if you have acne or hair loss or you're always tired, 1 out of every 3 women in the United States has anemia levels. And I'm not talking like regular blood work. I'm talking like your storage for your ferritin needs to be at least 70. And if you want to like grow your hair or clear up your skin, it needs to be like 90 for your stores.
Really?
So like...
I did not know that actually.
Yeah,
okay.
Super important. That's nutrition. It didn't come up all podcasts, but here we are.
Yeah, no, that's true though. I love that. Tell me something you had to lose in your life in order to grow.
My ability to love too much outside of myself that didn't allow me to love myself. For instance, like the relationship I was in, or approval for like other people, whether it was modeling, parents. Whenever I switched that back to me of like, I need my own approval.
Yeah, that's a good answer too. Okay, I see. All right, I want you to rank these things for me in order of importance. Okay, we got money, relationships, status, happiness, and integrity.
Ooh. Integrity's first.
Okay.
Because that kind of ties into authenticity.
Okay.
I'm going to say that we're going to go with happiness number 2. Because if you're being authentic and you're being happy, the rest of them are going to fall in line.
Yeah.
Okay. For me personally, I think relationships is the next one. I feel like even if you don't have money or status, if you have the right relationships, you're going to get those.
Yeah, I agree.
And then finally, I'm going to say probably money is next. We do need resources, but money has to do with the energy and the frequency that you're resonating at. And status, well, this is kind of going to be a full circle moment. You've read off my resume earlier, and I don't ever look at my resume. Like, these are just things that I did, and it's great, but that's not getting me where I want to go.
Yeah.
So, like, leave status at the door. I like to be the girl that goes to the supermarket with Peach.
I love that.
And then turn around, go on stage. And I love that because people get to know who I am.
Yes, girl, that's so funny because whenever I wrote these out, like to interview you on, I asked myself the same question and I rated them the exact same thing. I said integrity, happiness, relationships, money, and status in that same order.
This is why I'm not worried about you ever.
That's interesting. I got it. I got it.
Got it.
What about a song that you're currently obsessed with?
This is so not my normal music genre. This actually might be yours.
Okay, tell me.
I think it's either Nicki Minaj or Cardi B. That's exactly
okay.
like it tells you how much I don't know.
Okay.
But it's What's Going On.
How it go?
So I hope I have the right song in mind. I'm on recording. Yeah. But one of the lyrics in the very beginning is, I just might run for president or set the precedent. which for me,
I feel like I do. I listen to a lot of hip hop and rap, but I listen to mostly male artists. But that line is something that I've heard before, but I can't remember the melody of that song. But okay, yeah.
I've been vibing to it because, as you know, I'm president of the Brickell Community Chamber.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not about being president, like being the leader.
Yeah.
It's like having president. Like, what do I
Yeah.
stand for?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I stand for community. I stand for people. I stand for, being authentic. And I'm just like, I love that. Like,
Okay.
It's like it gets me up in the morning.
That's hard, yeah.
type
Get
of
you
song.
going. Yeah, I love that. I'm telling y'all, that rap music, it'll get you up. Sure. I'm telling you. Okay, 3 habits you do daily that make you better, like healthy habits.
So I definitely have yoga,
Mm-hmm.
right? I meditate every single day. And then journal. Those sound like such like cliche answers, though. So I want to give you like a unique
because
one.
I'll be honest, I do none of those things.
Really?
I don't meditate, I don't do yoga, and I also don't journal.
Okay.
So that's not necessarily...
Now I don't feel like a cliche anymore.
I don't
but
think that's cliche at all. I mean, everyone, there's things that I do that you probably don't, but that makes sense completely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then I'll stick with those.
Yeah,
I'll
those
be
are good
authentic
answers.
to myself.
It's hard to do those things. It's hard to write things down. It's hard to find time to meditate. And like I said, yoga is just not something I'm as much into. So yeah, that's good answers. What about biggest turn off in a relationship?
Oh, when someone is not transparent. Like that's still...
What do you mean? Just like lying, or just like two-faced, or what do you mean?
I'm gonna go big sister on you.
Okay.
Okay, because this is gonna be so important for any girl that's still in her dating stage. I learned through that longer relationship I was telling you about that he was always honest, right? And you can be honest all day long with people, like just don't lie. It's super simple, right?
Yeah.
But to be transparent about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what your true like heart motives are, that's a deeper level of intimacy. So this person, and I've kind of noticed this with different people throughout my life. Now, not anymore, because I have boundaries and I just have more self-respect and I don't tolerate things.
Yeah.
And I tell people, like, once you learn a lesson, it won't repeat. You'll be done. Like, you'll get to move on to
If you
different
learn the
lessons.
lesson hard enough, you're right. Eventually you're done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what I learned, though, is I wanted people in my life that were super transparent. Like, tell me, if there's something in my teeth. Right?
Yeah.
You could be honest, if I ask you and you're like, yeah, there's something in your teeth, Air. Or you could be the type of person that's just like, hey, girl, like, I want you to look good. You get that thing out of your teeth.
See, that is a great example.
And this is not about teeth.
Yeah, that's a great example. It's just, that is a great example, because I think a lot of times, you're right, you can be honest, but you just beating around the bush. Like, you ain't being real with me. You're just not lying to my face, you know? So I love that. Okay. And then last one here, advice that you'd give your younger self.
Be okay to shine, and even if somebody says that they want you to shine, watch their actions versus what they're telling you. Because sometimes people will say, shine, go brighter, go big, and they're cheering you from the sidelines, but that's not what their heart is. So shine for yourself and do the cringe thing, do the scary cringe thing, because they'll call you cringe, and then they'll call you lucky, and then they'll ask you why you did it and how you did it.
That is so true. So. Yes. Good answer again. I swear. So relatable. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show, for real though. Where can the listeners find you if they want to work with you, connect with you more, have you help them?
So Air Kraehmer is my Instagram. If you just want to send me a DM, that is easy to do. It's Air, like breathe. And then Kraehmer's Kraehmer. And then if you want to start working together, you go to neuroself.io. If you're wanting more of like the coaching or the neuroscience, psychology, that's all there. And then, of course, I'm big into the community too. So if you want to join the Brickell Community Chamber, we do a lot of wellness. We do a lot of events that bring, the community together, but through programs like education. We have things for nonprofits. We have all sorts of great things there.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely put those in the video as well, the links to that. So also, you guys, please follow at Yo, it's Kenslow, and at Curls and Courage Podcast on Instagram. Let me know who you want to have on the show next. And if you could also rate and review the show, Curls and Courage, wherever you're listening now, that would mean the world to me. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course, and check out the podcast every Thursday on WDJY 99.1 FM radio. And lastly, if you're interested in one-on-one training or nutrition coaching with me, shoot me an email at kensleymeeksfit@gmail.com to set up a consultation. So until the next one, y'all stay in motion. I think the full message of this episode is just be authentic. Be yourself. have courage, show up boldly, and I hope y'all love this episode.
Thank you so much for having me, Kinsley. This was a beautiful experience.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we'll talk to y'all on the next one.
Appreciate y'all. Bye.